Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel is in Afghanistan this morning, but Afghan President Hamid Karzai is noticeably absent. He is in Iran and in a meeting with the Iranian President Rouhani earlier today. Rouhani said Iran opposes the presence of all foreign troops in Afghanistan. Karzai has so far refused to sign the agreement between Afghanistan and the United States to protect American troops if a small group of them remain in the country to train Afghan forces past 2014. Our CBS News State Department correspondent Margaret Brennan is traveling with the secretary, and he told her about a half hour ago that if Karzai does not sign this agreement, we may have no alternative but to leave.
2,000 Americans have died here. Billions of dollars has been spent, and yet the president of this country is putting off signing this agreement. I mean, that has to be incredibly frustrating.
Well, it is, except for this. The Loya Jirga, which represented thousands of citizens and leaders in Afghanistan, met a couple of weeks ago, as you know. Overwhelmingly, over 90% of those people strongly supported a U.S. partnership past 2014 along with our partners.
And yet the president says he's not going to sign it till this spring, even though they approved it.
I know. I think the more he involves himself, President Karzai, and listens to his people, which leaders must do, I hope he'll come to the right decision on this, because we need that bilateral security agreement signed for our own planning, for our own purposes, as well as our international partners. Because if there's uncertainty, if the president of this country doesn't make a decision on this, then you're right. There will be some questions as to how and what we do from here.
General Dempsey has said it is a possibility that there will be a full U.S. retreat from Afghanistan because of the uncertainty around this standoff with the security agreement. I mean, how real of a possibility is that?
Well, it's a very real possibility, because if we don't have a bilateral security agreement, which I've noted, that means we can't protect our forces that would be here after 2014. No international partners will come. Afghanistan essentially will be alone, but we have no other option. We can't plan for, the president can't commit American forces, or the United States of America, no other country can, unless we are protected with an agreement.
With a zero option, no U.S. soldiers, isn't that an American retreat?
Well, you can use any term you want, retreat or not renewing our efforts here post-2014. You can say it any way you want, but what I'm saying is, unless we have the security of an agreement to protect our forces, then we'll have no choice. We will not be able to stay.
American people look at this, all the blood, all the treasure. They hear things that Hamid Karzai says about adding new demands to before he signs a security agreement, just a refusal to comply. I mean, he's not even here in the country while you, the Secretary of Defense, are in country. Why not? Why can't Americans look at that and say it's just not worth it?
Well, I think that is a legitimate question. That we should ask that question: is it worth it or not worth it? It needs to be asked, especially in a representative government, a democracy. Those questions must be asked. So it is now up to President Karzai to make a decision.
Did the U.S. miscalculate in thinking he could be a partner?
We were surprised. We didn't understand what he said going into the Loya Jirga, as you noted, in support of the BSA as it was agreed to when Secretary Kerry was over here with him a few weeks ago. And then to have him come back and try to reopen some of these issues. Yes, it was disappointing. Yes, it was surprising. But we're dealing with the realities that we have before us.
Secretary of Defense with our Margaret Brennan. We'll be right back with more on Nelson Mandela.